My husband Jim is a Virgo, an earth sign, and he wears a lot of greens, browns, and dark blues, and he doesn't mind doing the weeding when I start a new garden. We enjoy taking walks together outside, but his primary element is definitely water. He loves to go paddling for hours in his kayak, which means I also have my own kayak so we can go out together. I've seen firsthand how being on the water can change his mood and outlook on life. So I encourage his time on the water as much as possible. Mind you, my husband is an atheist muggle who's not into magic at all. But if he was, I imagine that he'd be into taking spiritual baths and he might even have a statue of Poseidon on an altar. Hmm, in another lifetime, perhaps. One way to make a personal spell powerful is to incorporate the natural elements that are the most meaningful to you. So tune in to this episode of You Are the Spell and learn how to be in your element. It's impossible to talk about magic without also talking about the natural elements of earth, air, fire, and water. The earth is beneath us, and it provides stability and nourishment. We inhale and exhale air, and we require it to live. Fire gives us heat and it cooks our food. And we also require water, and our bodies are made up of over 60% of it. Rituals incorporate these natural elements because everything in the universe is made up of a combination of them. When we place natural elements on our altar, they act as batteries to power our spell. In the last episode, we talked about intention. And depending on your desired outcome, you can use the power of the elements to reinforce your spell, as well as your personal power. Now, the philosopher Aristotle later supported the theory of the four basic elements, and he also added the element of ether, which is now thought of as space. Now, while the discussion of space is outside of the scope of what I teach, my personal opinion is that Aristotle's ether is the invisible substance which holds the stars in the sky, controls gravity, and most importantly, is the invisible astral plane where magic actually happens. By the way, all of the elements of nature are contained within the human body, which makes you inherently magical. So always remember that. Have you ever heard of the phrase being in one's element? As in, she was in her element when she spoke to large groups of people. Merriam-Webster Dictionary, I can speak, defines the phrase being in one's element as in a place or situation where one is comfortable and does well. I think everyone has one or two elements that they feel a particular affinity to. And when you know what they are, you can incorporate those elements into your spells and most definitely your self-care rituals. Now, I'm an earth sign, I'm a Capricorn. I do enjoy spending time outside in nature. I enjoy the peaceful feeling that I get when I'm surrounded by trees and natural greenery. Nothing like it. But I often say candle magic is my jam because I know that fire is also my thing. And it's no surprise that my favorite color is red. So I feel that I'm connected to the elements of earth and fire. Now, my husband Jim, he's a Virgo, an earth sign, and he wears a lot of greens, browns, and dark blues, and he doesn't mind doing the weeding when I start a new garden. We enjoy taking walks together outside, but his primary element is definitely water. He loves to go paddling for hours in his kayak, which means I also have my own kayak, so we can go out together. And I've seen firsthand how being on the water can change his mood and outlook on life. So I encourage his time on the water as much as possible. Mind you, my husband is an atheist muggle who's not into magic at all. But if he was, I imagine that he'd be into taking spiritual baths and might even have a statue of Poseidon on an altar. Hmm, in another lifetime, perhaps. That also reminds me, Jim also wrote a CD of music years ago titled Time on the Water, and all of the songs are related to his love of water, most specifically the Hudson River. If you want to learn more about writing your own spells, sign up for my Spellcraft mini course. The link is in the description below. One way that you can personalize your spell crafting is to take into consideration the elements involved in your desired outcome. For example, if you want to increase your income, you want to make sure to incorporate earth in your spell, whether that means the color of the candle or the clothes that you wear. If you're interested in travel or improved communication, then the element of air needs to be included in your spell. Transformation and courage will be represented by fire, and emotions will be represented by water. One of my students was using the element of fire in order to become more courageous in her life. She wore red every day and she performed a small candle spell every evening. Not only did she begin to speak up more, she soon began verbally challenging people, even strangers. Her newfound fiery nature led to a few arguments with loved ones, and one night her candle exploded, starting a small fire in her home. When she asked me for help, I told her that her connection to fire was indeed successful, but it needed to be tempered with the element of earth. So I suggested that she add more greens and browns to her wardrobe. I also recommended that she dance, walk barefoot outside, and spend some time in the forest near her home. So while your desired outcome may require an increase of a particular element, you don't want to totally exclude the others. Balance is key. When you're planning your spell, consider the elements of your intention when choosing your magical ingredients, colors, and magical tools. Many reference books and websites will tell you the elemental associations for herbs and crystals, and you can choose accordingly. Now, if for whatever reason you are unable to use an herb or crystal in your preferred element, that doesn't mean that your spell won't work. But the more thought you can put into crafting your spell, the more meaningful and powerful it will be. Next up, I'll talk about each of the four elements and some of their associations. Let's talk about Earth associations and its magical correspondences. Earth works with all other elements to sustain life on this planet, and it is nurturing, grounding, loving, growing, and replenishing. The element of Earth can be used for intentions related to prosperity, stability, growth, fertility, femininity, birth, grounding, employment, finances, death, and motherhood. The zodiac signs associated with Earth are Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo. The colors are green, brown, and black. The planet that it's associated with is the Earth. Duh. The suit in the tarot that's associated with Earth is Pentacles. If you are an Earth zodiac sign, you can go deeper into this element by learning about plants and trees. You can work with herbs and crystals. Take time to dive into grounding techniques, such as walking barefoot and even dancing. Start a garden, wear earth colors, take a trip to the forest, and go hiking. Now, when it comes to performing earth magic, here are some suggestions. Grow a witchy garden with herbs that you use in your spells and potions. You can learn to make magical intention oils with herbs and roots. You can learn about burying spells, meaning burying things in the earth. You can use different kinds of dirt in your spells, things like graveyard dirt or um, courthouse dirt. You can research that for yourself. You can also get into kitchen witchery and use herbs in your meals and drinks. You can learn crystal magic and crystal healing. And of course, you can study the magic of trees. Let's talk about air associations and magical correspondences. Air fuels fire, and it moves the earth and it makes clouds with water. We inhale and exhale air, it cools us off, but it can also be destructive and blow down houses. But without air to breathe, we couldn't live. The element of air can be used for intentions related to communication, spoken and written, travel, writing, healing, teaching, mental clarity, memory, music, and purification. The zodiac signs associated with air are Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius, and the colors are white, yellow, and silver. The planets associated with air are Jupiter and Mercury. The suit in the tarot associated with air is swords. If you are an air zodiac sign, you can go deeper into this element by learning about incense and sacred smoke. You can work with musical tones such as singing bowls and wind chimes. You might also like learning about breath work techniques. And when it comes to performing air magic, here are some suggestions. You can burn incense as an offering to the gods or other deities and to manifest your intentions. You can make a wish with birthday candles. You can speak or chant affirmations. You can also try journal scripting as a manifestation technique. You can use sacred smoke such as sage, juniper, or rosemary to spiritually cleanse your home. You can also play music or use singing bowls or bells in your rituals. You can also look up sound cleansing techniques. And of course, sing your intentions. If you want to learn more about writing your own spells, sign up for my Spellcraft mini course. The link is in the description below. Let's talk about fire associations and magical correspondences. Fire, like water, is both creative and constructive. Fire can warm our homes and cook our food, but it can also be destructive and burn through homes and forests. The element of fire can be used for intentions related to courage, passion, anger, cleansing, rebirth, sex, energy, transformation, destruction, protection, purification, sex, and banishment. Zodiac signs associated with fire are Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. The colors are red, orange, yellow, and gold. The planet associated with fire is Mars. The suit in the tarot associated with fire is Wands. If you are a fire zodiac sign, go deeper into this element by lighting candles on a daily basis. Practice looking into a flame to divine messages. Research the science behind fire and its characteristics. Wear colors that correspond to fire and go sunbathing. Clothes are optional. When it comes to performing fire magic, here are some suggestions. Perform candle spells, of course. Release negativity and obstacles by burning papers or items. You can also try sunbathing or recharging by sunlight, meaning you can also charge crystals by sunlight. Some of them like that. You can brew sun tea or similar potions outside in the sun. You can get a fire pit or a cauldron. You can participate in sex magic, whether you're single or partnered. And you can learn about hearth magic, such as cooking, brewing, and baking. Let's talk about water associations and magical correspondences. The water element works in conjunction with all the other elements to sustain life on this planet. Water extinguishes fire or is evaporated by fire. Water feeds the earth. Water is made with and moved by air. Both the planet and our bodies are mostly made up of water. The element of water can be used for intentions related to emotions, dreams, love, intuition, friendship, purification, dreams, harmony, and connection to spirits and ancestors. Zodiac signs associated with water are Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio. The colors are blue, the teal green, silver, and white. The planets associated with water are the moon, and the planet Venus. And the suit in the tarot associated with water is cups. If you are a water zodiac sign, go deeper into this element by collecting rain and storm waters. You can charge water during different phases of the moon, not just the full and the new. You can also experiment with water that's been charged by the sun. Enjoy spiritual baths, wear the colors of water. Research plants and animals that are associated with water. And when it comes to performing water magic, here are some suggestions. You can use various kinds of magical waters as an offering on altars. You can make your own magical water and intention oils, learn water and mirror scrying, work with sea deities, perform tea magic, learn ice and snow spells. You can also participate in a purification ritual by swimming or skinny dipping in a natural body of water. And of course, you can look up moon magic and what that might mean for you. So, I hope that I've given you some new ideas about the elements of nature that you can use to enhance and amplify the intentions of your spells. Also, consider the elements when performing your morning and self care rituals. Experiment with the methods that speak to you and keep a record of your results in your Book of Shadows. Please let me know if you end up trying any of these ideas and how they work for you. Arming yourself with elemental magic can only increase your power because you are magic. If you want to learn more about writing your own spells, sign up for my Spellcraft mini course. The link is in the description below.